Into the lightweight class, James Reveller started quietly at round 1 at Buckmore Park, but has now found his feet, winning the last 3 finals to move through and into an 18-point lead ahead of Luke Cousins, who with Reveller and the continued absence of Sam Sheehan look like the class of the field. Although Aaron and Truman continue to score consistently, while Beard looks for more trophies, Hall and Gallagher blow hot and cold. No B finals today, so Oscar John Cook will not have to qualify through the repechage. And there's no heats for lightweights, it's time practice and qualifying. Group 1 was fastest and Luke Cousins fastest of all, so he qualifies on pole position. James Reveller in Group 2 set the fastest time, so he has grid 2. The fast Freddie Gallagher appears to have turned up for Clay on grid 3, Richard Ward on grid 4. Chris Penny and Julian Cliss start well up on a damp track. On row 3, Josh Petit, Oliver Knight and Miguel Hall and Harrison Darville round out the top 10 of a 25-car grid. And we're taking the start with Julian Clistine on grid 6. Luke Cousins ahead, controls the pace to the start line. Will he get the whole shot into turn 1? Rever on the outside. Somebody piling in, it was Chris Penny. So Penny's through and Cliss going backwards. Slow start for Miguel Hall, and it's Reveller and Cousins pulling clear up front with Freddie Gallagher in 3rd place as they round Billy's blind for the first time, and it's Reveller leading into turn 2. But he runs out wide, and a chance for Cousins maybe. Into the S's, can he get it done? He can't. Back on board here with Julian Clist on the outside in the S's. It's a brave move, and he's pulled it off around the outside of kart 53, Oliver Knighton. Down at the hairpin, and contrasting lines going in. Clist going down the inside of Josh Petit. Oh, contact there from Lauren Lasaw. Running into the back of another kart and spinning out. And he appears to have collected Eric Mignon. Letting the field sort itself out. Cousins leads by 0.2 seconds ahead of James Reveller. Freddie Gallagher coming through on his bumper. Richard Ward, Chris Penny is your top 5. But it's 3 away at the front. It's Cousins, Reveller, Gallagher into turn 2. Gap there, and I saw Chris Penny under pressure from Richard Ward. Hard to tell which way round that will have been. It's all to do with traction off turn 1. And staying on the track through Billy's blind, Greg Aaron moves ahead and through on Miguel Hall for what will be 11th place. Gentle on the throttle there, uncharacteristic for Freddie Gallagher. Jamie Armstrong down the inside of Tom Powell, 43. And Jamie Armstrong, has he gone through to 14th place? Well, we'll have to wait and see over start finish on that one as we're coming round to end lap 2 of this 15-lap final. Cliss trying to get good drive to try and put a move on Richard Ward, can't get it done. Jamie Armstrong sideways through the last corner, back on board with Cliss. That's Ward ahead of us. Ward trying to close back in on Chris Penny. Ward on the narrow line into turn 2 now. Is the up and under on for Clist? Josh Petit in fact cutting to the inside, and Clist finds himself boxed in behind Richard Ward, and Clist goes straight through on Ward. What a good move. Josh Petit moving forward and ahead of Richard Ward, so he's up to 5th place. Then over the hump and down on the brakes. It's very wet here at Clay Pigeon, very greasy. Different levels of grip on different parts of the track depending on the age of the asphalt. Down the inside, Richard Ward trying to come back at Julian Clist. Side by side, they're rubbing side pods through the horseshoe. Road back in Clist's favour. Glenn Beard kindly gets on his bumper, and Richard Ward loses another spot. Coming through to start lap 4. Richard Ward down in 8th place now behind Glenn Beard. Look at the lead that Cousins has got on Reveller and Gallagher. Battle on here behind Chris Penny. Josh Petit, kart number 3, under pressure from Clist. Clist goes a long way in and deep and straight back on the undercut. Josh Petit is back through to 5th place. Greg Aaron, Harrison Darville, we're right on board with Miguel Hall down in 12th. Hall looking for a way by. Now, is he close enough to have a go? He's going for it, sort of. Yes, he's through. Everybody runs wide. Hall goes in narrow, and he's going to get out ahead of Darville, but perhaps not. Greg Aaron, kart 31. Darville goes to the inside. But Miguel Hall's got the momentum, and the position is his, so Hall goes through and up to 11th. Reveller behind Luke Cousins still at about half a second. Big gap to Chris Penny in 4th place behind Gallagher. Clist looking once again for a way past Josh Petit. Glenn Beard looks to the inside of Clist at turn 2. Now Clist has a chance with more momentum, but Beard cuts him off and puts him on over the curb. Forceful move by Glenn Beard. Probably fair racing. There's certainly an acknowledgement from Glenn Beard as we go down the main straight, and he takes a shot from Clist. Just a heavy love tap down at the hairpin. So Julian not too impressed with Glenn Beard's forceful driving. And Reveller has closed in on Luke Cousins. Cousins with a lot of lock going on the steering there in turn 1. Makes him slow off the corner, and James Reveller is looking for the lead inside of Billy's blind. Over the curb on the inside. Cousins driving down the middle of the road but goes in deep. Is this a chance for Reveller? Not quite there. Luke Cousins manages to make a late apex, avoiding the curbs going into the S's, clipping it on the way out. Oh, we've got a yellow flag being waved there. Somebody off. Well, it certainly isn't Glenn Beard. Contact with Julian Clist on the last lap. They're going down the hairpin again. Flag is being waved. Can we see who it is? Well, we still can't see it from that angle. Coming round to finish lap 6. Miguel Hall going very deep in the hairpin there. We were briefly on board with him, but it's still Cousins from Reveller. Freddie Gallagher, Chris Penny. A couple of carts have been off here. There's Penny just ahead of Josh Petit. Glenn Beard. We ride on board with Clist, wearing the chin cam. And Beard is driving a very wide cart to frustrate Julian Clist. Oliver Knighton coming through in 8th place. Richard Ward down in 9th. Greg Aaron rounds out the top 10. There's a bit of a gap to Miguel Hall, who's struggling with the conditions. Back on board with Freddie Gallagher. Not too impressed there with Tom Powell, who he's putting a lap down to. Frightened of giving away ground, but there's nobody close behind him. Josh Petit comes through in 5th place with Glenn Beard on his bumper still. And in fact, he runs wide and Beard goes through. Now Clist moves on to the bumper of Petit. Oliver Knighton closing in as well. Chris Penny holding off Glenn Beard. There could be some fireworks here. We've got, 5, 6 drivers fighting over 4th place. A lot of lock put in to try and encourage the kart to turn there by Julian Clist. And then you've got to be careful with the throttle. Too much throttle, it'll spin up and spin you round. Tail happy in these conditions. Slick tyres, remember, not wet tyres. It certainly aids car control. Certainly teaches you how to drive on a damp track with little grip. That's what Club 100 is about. It certainly boosts your skill levels in these conditions. Richard Ward trying to get that position back from Greg Aaron. Once again, leaning in and on Greg Aaron to take the spot. Gives him a bit of room on the exit, so close fair racing. And Glenn Beard's picked off Chris Penny. So Beard enjoying the conditions, moving up to 4th place, coming through the field. Got a lot of work to do though to close in on Freddie Gallagher. He's nearly 7 seconds up the road. And Clist is urging his car on, trying to get that traction. And he's got past Petit. Now he's got to make this turn. And he does. Miguel Hall down the inside of Richard Ward for 10th. So Miguel getting used to the conditions. Clist now looking for a way past Chris Penny. Penny in the red suit. Kart number 4. Clist looks to the inside of the hairpin. Now he's got to get it squared off and turn before Chris Penny can get his momentum off the corner to take the position back into the horseshoe. And Penny seems to be struggling as Josh Petit goes down the inside and picks up a spot. And the race leaders are already through Billy's blind. Cousins' lead is still 0.7 of a second on Reveller. They've got 3 seconds on Freddie Gallagher. Richard Ward takes that spot back from Miguel Hall. So Ward moves back into the top 10. Greg Aaron now trying to go round the outside of Oliver Knighton, who at the same time is trying to find a way past Chris Penny. Aaron's picked off Knighton. Miguel Hall still trying to find a way past Ward again. Feeding in the throttle, you can hear it spinning up. Oh, Ward's run very deep into the first part of the S's, but Miguel Hall nearly loses it on the exit. And now Jamie Armstrong is moving in and looking to go through. Hall gets Ward at the hairpin. So Hall moves back into the top 10. And Freddie Gallagher sets the fastest lap. Now remember, fastest laps in this final set the grid for final 2. So right now, Freddie Gallagher has pole position, and I think I'd rather be on the inside into turn 1 on a damp track than the outside, certainly. Ward holds off Jamie Armstrong out of turn 1, so Ward stays in 11th place. But for how long? Armstrong breezes past round the outside of Billy's blind. And we've got the beginnings of a dry track. It's stopped raining. It won't be dry enough to call it dry or even damp before the finish. But it might be dry for final 2. And look at the drive that Miguel Hall's got on Chris Penny. Oh, and he's forced Penny to go in very deep. And they're 3 wide coming off the corner. And Greg Aaron's going to keep his spot. And Miguel Hall is making sure that Chris Penny can't get back in line. So coming round to finish lap 11. Luke Cousins' lead is still 0.6 of a second ahead of James Reveller. There's still another 3 seconds back to Freddie Gallagher. Miguel Hall and Chris Penny are getting to know each other a little bit too well. Hall moves back into 9th place. Armstrong is right there. We've got fireworks down at the bottom of the top 10. Glenn Beard is in 4th place, but he's 12.5 seconds off the lead. Julian Clist is another second or so further behind, and he's dropped Josh Petit and Oliver Knighton. There's Greg Aaron coming through now in 8th place. Armstrong leaning in and on to Chris Penny, and he's not too pleased with Chris Penny's driving standards. I'm sure Penny might say the same. Who leans back in on Jamie Armstrong, and Richard Ward picks up the spot cheaply into the last corner. Now, was that a penalty for Miguel Hall? There was certainly a hand in the air. I'm sure that was from Hall's car. So we're into the final stages of this first final in lightweights. Luke Cousins' lead is still 0.8 of a second. Jamie Armstrong and Chris Penny are touching each other up and nearly wiping each other out, and they're losing out as Tom Lee begins to close in from 13th place. The final lap board is being made ready for the next time by. Cousins puts himself in pole position for final 2. Penny and Armstrong joining at it as they have done for about the last 3 or 4 laps. There's Freddie Gallagher in 3rd place. Long way back to Glenn Beard. Over start finish this stream. Armstrong once again looking to the inside of Penny into turn 1. Can't get it done, and with that wider line, Chris Penny should get good drive. And the track is beginning to dry. The engine notes beginning to rise as they're able to keep up more revs and more speed through the corners. I saw the race leaders in the horseshoe about to start their final lap. Kedden Vedat not having a lot of fun here, down in 17th. James Reveller puts himself on pole position for the final. What a good time to set the fastest lap. So we're on the last lap now. Freddie Gallagher coming through, the yellow flag being waved. I think that's James Kimmings off at the side of the track there, lost it on the damp track. Cousins through the S's. He's got enough of a lead. It's 0.8 of a second coming downhill and on the brakes. So there's just a couple of corners to go. Luke Cousins knows he's going to win this one. He's just got to keep it pointed in the right direction. Still great points for Luke Cousins, great points for James Reveller in the championship. They pull further clear of the chasing pack. Luke Cousins very happy with that one. Freddie Gallagher comes through and he's happy with 3rd. Glenn Beard will finish in 4th place. Julian Clist in 5th. Oliver Knighton, Josh Petit, Greg Aaron, Richard Ward, Jamie Armstrong rounds out the top 10.
3rd place then for the lightweight class in final number 1. Congratulations, driver number 20, Frederick Gallagher. Okay, and 2 out runner-up then, and getting 127 precious points then. Starting grid 2, finishing runner-up, driver number 9, James Reveller. 2 out race winner then, polled it for final number 1, and won the race just by about 7/10. And congratulations, winner of final number 1 here at Clay Pigeon for the lightweight class, driver number 25, Luke Cousins. And I look, okay, a few cameras pointing at you, a few smartphones pointing at you, and obviously you're on film as well, so big smile, boys and girls. Okay, well done indeed. Another round of applause. Final number 1 for the lightweight class.
So fastest lap times from the first final set this grid for final 2, and it's James Reveller on pole position, looking to regain the 3 points he lost to Luke Cousins in final 1, and Luke has to settle for 3rd on the grid as Freddie Gallagher qualifies on the front row. With Tom Powell an excellent 4th after only finishing 23rd in the first final. Tom Lee and Josh Petit start on row 3, Jamie Armstrong, Glenn Beard on row 4. Chris Penny and Greg Aaron make up the top 10, running in and under starters' orders and the Union flag for final 2 now. James Reveller controlling the pace, and it's a fairly pedestrian one, but Freddie Gallagher's missed the start. He's going to be lucky to hang on to 2nd. He's going to have to go round the outside of Luke Cousins. And it has rained again. You can see the track is a lot wetter than the end of final 1. Water on that lens there. And it's James Reveller with a perfect start in the conditions ahead of Freddie Gallagher. Luke Cousins now under pressure from Tom Powell. Powell on the outside. Glenn Beard up the inside of Josh Petit, and now up the inside of Powell into the S's, and kart 34, Glenn Beard moving forward. And gesture there, I don't know if that's an apology or he's waving him back through. But coming down to the hairpin, well, he's not let him through, so I'm not sure what that means from Glenn. Down the inside, Miguel Hall trying to find positions. Clist caught up behind Chris Penny, and now Glenn Beard's trying to go round the outside of Luke Cousins into the horseshoe. Harrison Darville sawing at the wheel. We're right on board with the chin cam of Julian Clist. Over start finish, and Reveller leads by 0.6 of a second on Freddie Gallagher. And he's got best part of a 1.5 seconds on Luke Cousins. Glenn Beard comes through in 4th place. Trying to find a way past Cousins. Round Billy's blind, can't get it done. Josh Petit in 5th. Tom Powell in 6th. We're back on board. Who was that? I think that was Miguel Hall throwing one down the inside of Tom Lee. Reveller, Gallagher, Cousins, Beard, Petit, Aaron ahead of Tom Powell. Miguel Hall ahead of Tom Lee. Clist comes out the S's sideways, but he's got ahead of Chris Penny. Penny is trying to hold off car number 1, Richard Ward, who's cut back to the inside. Late now runs Penny out wide. Nothing Penny can do about it. He'll have to come back at it at another corner. Powell runs wide, runs down the grass. He's looking to keep that off the barrier. Ward round the outside of Penny. Harrison Darville coming through in 14th place. The worst conditions make the lap times longer, so this final is a lap shorter at 14. Ward goes past Chris Penny. Now round the outside of Billy's blind. Can be very treacherous. I've been into tyre wall there myself on a few occasions. Ward moves ahead. Penny not too impressed with the style he did it. Oh, and Harrison Darville takes out Ward at the chicane. That could be a penalty if it's been seen. Penny coming straight back at Darville, runs straight through him and then falls off himself. Beard ahead of Josh Petit. Beard in 4th place, 0.8 of a second down on Luke Cousins. So Cousins has got his work cut out. Glenn Beard, there's a penalty board out there. Now I wonder who that's for. It's gone out and come back in. I think that was for Darville on Richard Ward at the S's. Lauren Lassaur under pressure. And who would that be? That would be from Chris Skivier, who had a quiet first final. All under pressure from Tom Powell, Jamie Armstrong. Clist running round the outside. Now he's boxed in behind Hall. Yellow flag out in the S's. Catil's racing in the fall back into single file. That'll be for the recovering Richard Ward. And what you're seeing on the camera lens there is what you would see through a visor. So an excellent illustration of what it's like to drive a Club 100 kart in these conditions. Vision impaired, not to say the handling of course. Wooden tyres in the rain. So off the throttle, gently on the brake. Encourage it to turn with a lot of understeer. Try and keep the back from coming round by feeding in the throttle gently. Oh, Clist is sideways there through Billy's blind, and he goes a long way into turn 2. It's spectacular and it's wild, but he'll end up in the tyres. we're back on board here. I believe we're on board with Miguel Hall going down the inside of Tom Powell, and that's for 7th place. Bit of contact. We'll probably get away with that one. They're 12 seconds off the leader, James Reveller, who now has 3 seconds on Freddie Gallagher. As they come round to start lap 6, the leader is already coming up to and through Billy's blind. There he is, there's Reveller, there's Gallagher in 2nd. Through comes Luke Cousins, Glenn Beard, Josh Petit, Greg Aaron in 6th, and now Miguel Hall fighting hard over 7th place. This is where the action is. Armstrong down the inside of Tom Powell, goes a long way in, and Powell's able to take it back on the inside in. The S's and Clist has done the pair of them, and he's made the second part. He's sawing at the wheel and sideways, and now he loses his momentum, and Armstrong goes through, and Tom Powell will have a chance down the inside. Oh, 3 wide through there, does not work. Somehow Julian Clist threads the eye of the needle and hangs on to 8th place. Powell and Armstrong now joined by Tom Lee. The search for grip, and Clist is pulling away from Tom Powell. Kart number 7, Tristan Marchant having a quiet final down in 18th place. And Tom Lee looking to the outside of Jamie Armstrong. Armstrong in kart 47, Tom Lee in kart 13. So far it hasn't been unlucky. Miguel Hall, a bit sideways, coming under pressure now from Julian Clist in the fight for 7th place. Richard Ward running a lap down. Kart 22 is Mike Bruford. He's in 14th place. Kart 27, James Bailey bringing round the main group there in 21st. Kart 24, Aaron McClure went off in the first final. Apologies to James Kimmins, it wasn't him earlier on. Marchant looking for a way past. Can't get it done. Is he going to throw it down the inside into turn 1? Optimistic, and it doesn't work, and McClure keeps 19th place. Your race leader has put a lap on Lauren Lassalle. Back on board with Freddie Gallagher. That shiny surface there is the newer tarmac, and in the wet it has less grip than the old tarmac that they're on. Armstrong still ahead of Tom Lee, who continues to run rather wide into Horseshoe. He'll find himself fired off into the barrier if he's not careful. Oliver Knighton comes through behind him in 12th. And Clist once again is looking for a way past Miguel Hall. Oh, I warned him that would happen. Just too ambitious. Now if he was clever there, or Nicky Richardson, or one of the Richardson boys, he'd have done the flick there and got it through 360 and carried on. Running out of talent in the conditions. Good to watch while it lasted, but Julian Clist is going to finish nowhere in this final now. The field streamed through. We pick up the battle, Jamie Armstrong and Tom Lee. And of course they're now fighting over 9th place with the demise of Julian Clist. No change up front. There's Cousins. He's got a safe margin on Glenn Beard, it would appear. Reveller still under 3 seconds clear of Freddie Gallagher, so Gallagher has responded. He's got a lot of work to do. We're on lap 10 of 14. You can see how gingerly he's coming into the hairpin. Picking up the throttle gently as well. Trying to do the steering on the old tarmac rather than the new. So it's looking fairly settled up front. Reveller was quicker on that last lap and moves out to 3 seconds once again. That looks like fairly new tarmac there in turn 2. Back to the old. Just clipping the curves in the S's is the way to do it. Aaron McClure now trying to find a way past Sam Nash into turn 1, and they've not lost Tristan Marchant. And Marchant, I think, got a better run out the corner than McClure. It's a 4-way dice, and joining in behind is Eric Mignon. Marchant breaking traction on the exit of turn 2 on the bumper of McClure. Mignon hooks the curb to get round the second part of the S's. Down the back straight. And Nash goes defensive to hold him off. Oliver Knighton now trying to find a way past, and I think he's done it on Tom Lee for 10th. Yes, he has. So Knighton picks up a spot as we come into the closing stages. James Reveller leads by over 3 seconds. 3.5 seconds now on Freddie Gallagher. Luke Cousins is looking like he could be under pressure from Glenn Beard. Knighton is trying to hold off Tom Lee, who's trying to come back at him. Cousins goes a long way in, desperate to put a lap on Lauren Lasso. And Glenn Beard trying to do the same thing, has run wide. There's actually quite a lot of grip there over the curb on the exit of the hairpin. Of course, if you get it wrong, you're in the tyres behind. Gallagher feeding in the throttle now on the penultimate lap. The only thing that's going to happen here is you lose concentration and you bin it, and he won't want to do that. We're looking for Cousins. There he is. Glenn Beard coming through, and Glenn Beard is actually under pressure from Josh Petit. McClure and Marchant still going at it in their own personal dice over 17th place. And the final lap board has been made ready. We're looking for the race leader. He's second place, Freddie Gallagher. What's the lead now? It's 4.4 seconds. This one's in the bag, if you can ever say that in these conditions, for James Reveller. Just one more lap and he'll regain the 3 points and extend his lead in the championship on Luke Cousins. Up to Billy's blind for the last time. Sweeping through, keeping it on the black stuff. That's the important thing. This will be the best set of finishes for Freddie Gallagher if he can pull it off. A second and a third. Gallagher comes through in second. We're looking now past Sam Nash for Luke Cousins. One last look over the shoulder for Freddie Gallagher. A quick look back there from James Reveller just to see where Luke Cousins is, I think. Into the horseshoe for the last time. And it's James Reveller heading for win number 4 of the season. He's going to extend his lead over Luke Cousins to 21 points. He finishes in third place. Freddie Gallagher does his season a power of good with second, and he moves up to 5th in the championship behind Glenn Beard, who's off the podium but now only 2 points behind Greg Aaron, who's third in the point standings. Everyone will be hoping for better weather at round 6 at Wilton Mill in 4 weeks' time.
But finishing in third place, we had him on the top step a minute ago. Third place in final 2, driver number 25, Luke Cousins. You've had a good day. Okay, our runner-up then in final number 2, he's gone one better. Started grid 2, finishing second today, driver number 20, Freddie Gallagher. And to our winner then, again going one better. Was just on the second step on the podium, but he ended up holding it for final number 2 with that fastest lap and winning the race by a massive gap of 4.9 seconds. Congratulations, driver number 9, James Reveller. Well done, guys, well done indeed, fantastic. Well done the lightweights this weekend here at Pigeon.